everyone, it's Lisa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I want to share with you this die set from the Stamps of Life. It's the High Fold It. I'm going to make a card with this today. It does make an A2 size card and it does say the word high. So this card is actually perfect for just any everyday cards that you need to send to whomever. So I love it because it says the word hi. You don't even need to stamp a sentiment on the outside because your sentiment is here for you. And what's neat about this die set is it does come in 3 different parts. So what I love about this is it also makes a shaker card. So you can actually use these 2 dies together to cut out your outline to do your shaker. I'm not going to be making a shaker with it today. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, which I'll share with you in just a minute. But I just want to show you, so you have this piece, it actually cuts out the word high, which I've already done. And then you also have this piece, which you can layer directly on top of whatever cardstock you put. You die cut this out, and then you have your large shadow piece. So if you wanted to have another layer in the background, you can, but you can also use this as your card base. So for those of you that are familiar with the Stamps of Life Fold It cards, you know that the largest die in the set makes the actual card base shaped like the word or whatever the image is that may be for your Fold It card. So I'll show you how to use this a little bit later. But then what this also comes with are these little dies, these little drop-in dies. These are for the eye. So the actual circle on the eye, it actually will allow you to drop in one of these dies to cut out a little picture. This is a butterfly. You also have some dots in a circle shape. There's also a heart. And there's a snowflake. So if you wanted to send high during the winter months, you have a snowflake. And then this is just a flower. So those are fine. You can drop in. You can choose to use these. You don't have to use these. That's simply up to you. If you don't use them, the actual word, it will just cut out a circle that you can use for the dot on your word high. So what I wanted to do is I have actually seen a lot about watercoloring and brush lettering, and when I saw the word high, I just thought it was perfect for like a brush lettering type of watercolor technique, and it's large enough to do this on just the die cut. I do not brush letter, but using this die cut for me to just throw some color on and just do some watercoloring on to make it look like a nice watercolored word, I thought it would be really fun to do. So I am going to be using some Tombow markers. And the markers that I'm using are my Tombow, it's number 755, and I also have this blue one that's Tombow 452. So I'm using blue and pink, and I'm also bringing in a water pen from Arteza. So it just has some water on the inside, and when I push, it will let water come out. I'm using a fine tip water pen to do this. If you don't have a water pen, you can use a simple paintbrush would do, and a cup of water to wet your paintbrush.
So I'm going to go ahead and switch to voiceover just so I could speed this along. So I took the high die and I die cut it using Bristol Smooth cardstock, and that's what I like to use for watercoloring. You could also use a watercolor paper, but regular cardstock is not going to work because the colors will not blend easily with water if you use regular cardstock. And I like the Bristol Smooth because it is a smooth cardstock. It has a very smooth texture. Watercolor paper most of the time has a thicker texture, and you can actually feel the texture when you put your finger across. So it's really up to you what you decide to use. So as you can see, I took my pink marker, I put some there at the top of those letters, and then I put some of the blue at the bottom, but I'm going to leave some white space showing between the pink and the blue, because I'll come in with my water brush and connect those colors together. I also want to let you know that I am using my glass mat for watercoloring. You can see that I have a lot of marker on that glass mat, and it comes up really easily just by spritzing it with water and wiping it with a paper towel. And I do suggest using a glass mat when you are doing watercoloring, just so that it doesn't stain your surface. So here I'm just taking my Arteza water brush, and this is nice because it actually has water within the brush, and I'm just squeezing the red part of that water brush to get the water out on the tip, and then I'm just starting at the top of that pink piece and then dragging that ink towards the white, and then do the same thing with the blue. Start at the bottom and then drag up so that the blue and the pink meet. And when you do this, it's important that between each color you wipe your brush off on a paper towel, because you don't want to have pink on the tip of your brush as you move into the blue, because then you're just combining those colors, and you don't want to necessarily combine the colors, you just want those colors to meet in the middle, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that technique for all of the parts here of this word high. So again, start at the bottom of the blue, bring that up with the water, and then for the pink portion, start at the very top and drag that ink down to meet the blue. So I just love the way that this looks. I don't know if any of you have seen brush lettering online, maybe on Pinterest, but I've always been so fascinated with the way the style of the brush lettering looks, but I've never been able to accomplish that myself. And using this word high, it's already in that nice script font for you, so you can just add the color and just pretend like you actually did the brush lettering, which you're just adding color, which is really neat. So I'm just finishing up the blending here. You can also then go in on your dot for the eye and do the same thing, but before I do that dot, I just need to clean up this mess. Now I'm going to take my dot, and I'm just taking that dot and placing it in the die so that I can see which is the top and which is the bottom, because I want the top to have the darker pink and the bottom to have the lighter pink. So we're still working with that gradient. So I just add the pink to the top and then drag it out with a water brush. So I decided to try some different color combinations. So for this card, I'm using my purple 665 and my pink 755. I have the same Bristol Smooth cardstock, just die cut the word high again, and I'm putting the purple there towards the top and just getting all the parts of that word, and then I'm just going to bring in my pink towards the bottom of the word high. And then I'm just going to clean off my mat, so just spray that with water and wipe that up with a paper towel. And I'm going to make sure my water brush is clean before I start laying water down, so just wipe that on a paper towel and then start with the purple at the top and bring it down, and then clean your water brush and then do the same with the red. Start at the very bottom of the red and then bring that up to meet the purple. So again, you can try any color combinations, and also you don't have to necessarily use the Tombow markers. Any water brush markers will work. So if you have the Arteza Watercolor pens, you can use those. If you have any of the Spectrum Noir watercolors or any types of watercolors, you can use to do this technique. So here I'm taking the dot and just applying some of the purple. And then I'm moving on. I wanted to try a set of 3 colors. So for this one, I am using the purple 665, the pink 755, and the yellow 055. So you can see I've added some purple there towards the top. But this time, since I'm using 3 markers, I'm deciding to put some of the pink towards the middle. And I probably should have brought that pink down on the curve in the H. Probably should have brought it down a little bit further, because that's where the pinks were in the other part of the word high. But nevertheless, I think in the end it still looks good because of the gradient and all of the shading. Just love how it ends up turning out. So again, just take your water brush, make sure you clean it between applications, and then with the yellow, just start at the bottom, bring it up to the pink, and then take the pink, bring it down to the yellow, and then take the purple, bring it down to the pink, and then the pink, bring it up to the purple. So hopefully all that makes sense. And again, I just love the way that this looks. If you don't want to do watercolor, of course you can die cut the word high on patterned paper or solid color cardstock. That would look just as nice. And these letters on the word high are so thick that using patterned paper would look really pretty if you use that on your word, because a lot of the patterns in those papers would be able to stand out. So here are my 3 die cut pieces all colored up. And I decided that I'm going to put these on some black cardstock. So I've die cut 3 pieces of the black cardstock using the second largest die in the set. So the second largest die is the one on the right. And I've just die cut that 3 times. And I'm going to layer up those colors on top of the cardstock. Now, as far as the dot, I'm going to go ahead and place my little dot cardstock piece into the die itself. The die is not completely round, so you need to make sure that you put it inside of that die to make sure you have the shape correct before you run it through your die cut machine. And I'm just using my little diamond press mini here to die cut that out. And you can see that it cuts out the actual dot with the butterfly cut out of the middle. And if you wanted to, you can die cut that butterfly out of a different color cardstock and piece it back in, or you can just let the black show through. So for this one, I'm just die cutting a different shape. This looks like the flower. So again, you can leave it with the black showing through, or you can piece it back in. That's really up to you. And then for this last one, I'm just lining it up on this die. This is the heart, and I'm going to go ahead and run that through my little die cut machine, and you can see the heart cut out. Isn't that pretty? It actually cuts out the little outline of the heart. Look how little that is. And then it actually cuts out the middle of the heart, so you can actually have a little black outline showing around that heart. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all of these down. So you can see what they all look like glued down. So what I've also done is I have taken the little dots and taken those dies and die cut them out of just some Bristol Smooth cardstock, just regular white cardstock, so that I can have the inside pieces. So here's the flower, and I'm just coloring over that white flower with some blue, and I'm putting my water brush on there just to, fade out that color. And I'll be able to pop this back into the center. And I do the same thing for the butterfly, just put some of the yellow. I thought the yellow would look nice on that butterfly, and pop that back into the center of that first high die cut piece. And I decided to go ahead and color up with that purple color, that dot again, because the one that I had initially done did not have the dark on the top. The dark was actually off to the left-hand side, and I didn't like how that looked, so I just redid it. So if you look at that first high die cut sitting there on the table where I popped that yellow piece in, you'll see the dark on the left. And here I'm just going to put this new one right on top. So now the dark purple is on the top of that die cut piece. I don't know, I'm very particular when it comes to things like that. So I just wanted to redo that. So here I'm popping in the blue flower, and then I have these other pieces left over, and I'm going to use one of them on the inside of my card. So first I'm going to go ahead and make my card base. So this is the largest die in the set. Just fold your cardstock in half. Place the largest die just over the fold in your cardstock so that the die is on the left side of the fold, and then run that through your die cut machine. And that will give you your card base. But notice that when you do that, it cuts off the side of that die cut, so you have a straight edge now. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that same die cut another piece of the white cardstock, and you're actually going to layer the word high on top of the white single die cut piece, and then that piece will be layered on top of the actual card base. So here I'm going to go ahead and take one of the die cut pieces that I colored, apply glue to the back, add this to the one layer die cut piece, and then add that entire piece to the actual card base. And I'm applying glue to the top of the card base, and then just adding the word high right to the top of that. And then I'm going to take the extra flower that I die cut out and just add it to the inside just for a little something on the inside. So here are my 3 cards. This one I added a sentiment and the little butterfly on the inside. I just put a flower there on the second one, and I just love how these turned out. I love this look. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more card making tutorials. Have a great day and thanks for watching. Bye bye.